and tea and coffee, and they're, coming closer to the plane, and then they see me standing in front of the door, and they're like, what? And I said, good morning, my name is Captain Vujicic, welcome aboard. And they're like, are you flying the plane? And I said, we're so excited that you're with us, we got some new technology. And it was as if the caffeine just kicked in, and they're like, no way, how do you do that? And it was so awesome, the parents were freaking out, and the children were like, oh, this is so cool, I'm gonna put it on Instagram, And everyone's like, can I take a photo, can we get a selfie? And I'm like, yeah, cool. So they're like on board, and all the parents are like, hey, did you know about this? No, I didn't. Are you sure that you didn't get an email or something? No warning at all? No. So they're freaking out, right? And so my friend, he says, okay, come on board, everyone's on the plane. So I walk on the plane just like this. And you look down the aisle and everyone's head's like this. And I tell you, man, some people were freaking out. Some people committed their life to God for the very first time. And it was so cool because I got the microphone and I said, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for boarding so fast. It was so much fun. But the funniest story of all, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you these stories. The funniest story of all is one day I was in the car and I'm in the front seat and we're at the traffic lights. And this car comes up next to us and this girl's looking at me. So I'm looking at her. And all she sees is my head from the side. So just imagine all you see is my head from the side. I just did this. And she got my head to a 360-degree spin. And her face was like, so good. So why do I tell you these stories? Because sometimes what you see isn't true. Yes? Sometimes, even when we see something, we interpret something that's not true. And when we don't see what's around the corner of our future, especially, we start becoming afraid. When you look at the title, I Am Possible, you need to understand, not the word possible, you need to understand the words I am. And my question to you is, who are you? Are you a thankful person? Who wants to be happy? Let me ask you, new skin, who wants to be happy? Raise your hand. Okay, put your hand down. Who wants to be sad? Anybody want to be sad? No one wants to be sad. And so many times when I was going to school, I looked at me, I looked at Nick Vujicic, and I stared at him in the mirror, and what did I see? I saw a little boy with no arms and no legs. I am Nick Vujicic. I am born without arms and legs. I am disabled. I have challenges. When I went to school, I saw everyone with arms and legs, and I came home and I said, Mom and Dad, I don't want to go to school. Why not? Because they're teasing me. Oh, don't worry. We love you. There's a bigger plan for your life. You're beautiful and you're special. I hate it. I don't want to be special. I want arms and legs. And if I just had arms and legs, then I am a person like everyone else. And so I didn't like the situation I was in. And I didn't really give myself enough credit for who I am. Unfortunately, in May of 2017, we buried my father of cancer. He battled cancer for 21 months, and he was diagnosed with cancer in September 2015. And he always taught me many, many principles, and the first thing he said is, the happiest people on life and in their life on earth are the ones who are thankful. Write this down. Number one, attitude of gratitude. Everyone say, I am thankful. I am
I am thankful.
I'm going to give you 7 points, and the first point is the attitude of gratitude. Why? Because I have seen many people who think that all they need is something, and they've been working for that something, and they finally get that something, and that something doesn't satisfy. Let me give you an example. Who has an 8, 9, or 10-year-old son or daughter? Raise your hand. Okay, put your hand down. Do you think that they know what stress is? If you sat them down and you asked them, do you know what stress is? They're going to be like, of course I know what stress is. Homework is so hard, and my brother or my sister, they annoy me every single day, and I wish I was just taller or more popular at school. I'm so stressed out right now because my mom and dad, they don't give me everything I want. All my friends, they have more than me. Anyone have a 13-year-old? Put your hand up. They know what stress is. Oh, everything around me is changing. My parents, they live on another planet. They don't understand me. And I put a do not disturb sign on my door, and they still come into my room. They freak me out. I need my privacy. I need to figure my life out. I am so stressed out. I thought I could trust my friends, and then they backstab me. They invite me to the party, then they uninvite me to the party. I'm so stressed out right now. I need a boyfriend. If only I was 17 years old, then I would be happy. Why? Because I have less challenges. No, they get into the last year of high school and now they're stressed out. They've got to get into the right university. If I can just get into the university, then everything's going to be okay. No. They get into university and now what do they need? To be, again, number one. So then I can get a job. Finally, when I get a job, then everything's going to be okay. They get their job and is everything okay?
No.
No. Why? Because their boss stresses them out. And all the people, all the single people, I can't wait to get married. I know that I'm not happy and satisfied in my life until I find the one. And I tell them this, go talk to the married people. Because you want to know why? Because the married people will tell them, honey, if you ain't happy single, you ain't going to be happy married. There's some married people clapping over here. They know what I'm talking about. So then what is it that makes you fulfilled? What are you waiting for? Who are you? Do you see my foot? Ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. What would it have to take for you to say, you know what? I'm happy. Let me ask you a question from the other side. Are you a person with an attitude of gratitude?
Yes.
Are you thankful for what you have?
Yes.
The best way to know if you are is imagine that you have 15 seconds to breathe. 10. When was the last time you hugged your loved ones? When was the last time you got your wife flowers? When was the last time you had a conversation with your children that had nothing to do with cleaning their room or homework or their future job? When was the last time you thanked your friend for being your friend? Why do we have to wait for a bad day before we're really thankful? The person sitting next to you has good days and bad days. And we don't know what they're going through. But the fact that you're sitting next to them, the people who have attitude of gratitude, is the understanding that every day counts. And the I am of who I am has nothing to do with actually how much I have. Has nothing to do with what job title I have. Has nothing to do with how rich I am. Because of my dad's funeral, they didn't talk about how rich he was, or his success, or his achievements or his jobs. You know what we talked about at my dad's funeral? Who he was. Who are you? Are you a kind person? Are you generous? Are you quick to forgive or not? In fact, do you realize that every day is a gift, to the point that I'm going to actually ask you right now, with the permission of the person sitting next to you, give them a high five, give them a hug, and say, "Hi, I love you." Go.
โอ้ Hi I love โอ้รักมากน้องไอซ์
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone say, I am.
I am
I am
I am
possible.
possible
What I want you to understand are these principles before we get into going to the next level. I want you to know to be thankful. Who is Nick Vujicic? He's a motivational speaker. Great, wonderful. Ready? Take out my tongue. Pluck out my eyes. Cut off my ears and burn my skin. You can never touch my soul. There is not another Nick Vujicic, and there is not another you. You are you, and you are possible. Don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about what other people have compared to you. You are beautiful just the way you are. And I want you to know that you have a lot of control with the decisions that you make. I'm not saying that all you need is positivity. No, I'm not that person. You know those people that say, well, all you need is just to be positive. I feel like headbutting them in the face. And then say, just be positive. Right? What we got to understand is that there are many people with different religions and philosophies, and I understand that. But when I was 12 years old, now that we talked about having an attitude of gratitude, really knowing the truth of your identity and your purpose is next. So the number 2 thing I want you to write down is find the truth of my value. Find the truth of my value. When I was 12 years old, I was at an airport and a woman looked at me and she said, "Were you born this way?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you know why?" I said, "No." She said, "Would you like to know why?" I said, "Yes." Now, for the record, my parents don't know why I was born this way. My doctors don't know why I was born this way. And Lady Gaga don't know why I was born this way either. And as I was going through school, I was wondering about these larger questions. Who am I and what am I going to be? And many people said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, well, I can't be a fireman, I can't be a policeman, I can't be a, all these things, because I am Nick Vujicic and I have no arms and legs. It kind of like even defined me. Forget about the fact that I had no arms and legs. My head and my heart were disabled. And some of you have arms and legs, but your head and your heart are disabled. Yes? What would you rather have? A disabled body or a disabled heart? A disabled what? Body. Because there are so many times where in life, sometimes we feel like we have everything we want and everything we need, and we still don't feel free. And I want you to be free, because some of you actually have been told by your own parents, you are crazy. You're not good enough. You're a failure. And I want you to know to get rid of that, to understand the truth of who you are. And sometimes when people say things, it's not always true. And this woman, she said, well, I know why you were born this way. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, have you heard of reincarnation? I said, no. She said, it's very simple. You're a perfect example of that philosophy. I said, what do you mean? In your previous life, you were a very, very, very bad boy, and now you're being punished. And you are now made without arms and legs. And I'm like, what do you say to a woman who just tells you that? Like, do you say, thank you so much, you changed my life? She said, but don't worry. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? There is hope. She says, yeah, in your next life, now that you're a good boy, you're going to come back like a butterfly. And I'm thinking, that sucks. I don't want to be a butterfly. You know how many butterflies I've killed in my wheelchair? So what we're going to understand is when you find the truth of your value and your purpose, people can say what they want, but in the end, let me tell you when Nick Vujicic is happy. Watch this. It's not about my bank account. Yes, I love my wife and I love my 4 children with all of my heart. But I wasn't just born on earth to enjoy this place called earth. One of the greatest things that has satisfied my soul is to make a difference. And I want you to know that when you look at the word I am, it is wonderful to be able to shut out the lies with fact. And the fact is when you're a 19-year-old child like I was, who was doing a double degree in accounting and financial planning, went into stock market investing on options trading at age 16, lost $40,000 in the dot-com bubble back then. Then I went into real estate and made $100,000 in 12 months on my first deal in real estate at age 19. And then when we did all that, we went to South Africa with $28,000 cash and went to an orphanage that needed washers and dryers and diapers and nappies and medical equipment. And we gave them their first soccer ball and some sports equipment and stuff that they could actually enjoy this earth a little bit more. And we gave them their first treat of pizza and Coca-Cola in 1 year. It was one of the best days of my life. And when you realize that it's not just about you thinking you achieving something or having a miracle, watch this. I wanted arms and legs so bad. Little did I know, I didn't need them. I don't need arms and legs. Look. It would be great to have arms and legs. Am I a man of prayer and faith? Yes. Do I have a pair of shoes in my closet in case a miracle comes? Yes. But I'm not waiting for them to be happy. I want you to understand my heart is full. My head is strong. I don't need arms and legs. What I do need is the truth, and the truth has set me free. That I don't need to be you and you don't need to be me. Be the best you can be. And when you figure that out, you realize, see this table? This whole life is about truth, taking you closer to your goals and dreams, and lies. Oh, you're ugly. Oh, you'll never achieve anything. Oh, you'll never be happy. Nick, you'll never get married. Even if you got married, how can you even hold your wife's hand? Today, I don't need to hold my wife's hand. I just need to hold her heart. And you don't need arms and legs for that. Oh, how are you going to hold your kids when they're crying? Well, when my children cry, I can't put my arms around them, but they put their arms around me. I want arms and legs, yeah? You want something even better than arms and legs? Here it is. Ready? What a cool day it was at age 24 when I was speaking in front of the crowd. And I saw a little boy with no arms and no legs just like me. And I'm like, wow. He was only 19 months old. He had a little foot like me. And I'm like, that's incredible. Some of you in Malaysia, you've seen me on your national media with that little girl. They call her now Little Nick. after seeing me, the Malaysian government didn't allow her to go to a mainstream school, and one of her teachers put her outside the classroom because the teacher didn't believe that she should be able to join in on the school curriculum. And after I went to Malaysia, all of a sudden she was accepted and her family felt embraced by the Malaysian government and the education school system. How cool is that? We gotta understand that when you don't get a miracle, you can still be a miracle for someone else. When I met that little boy, Daniel, I saw his mom and she cried on my shoulder and she said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I said, "Why?" She said, "Nick, look, there's my son. Now I know that he has a hope, plan, and future because of your life." And I said, "You know what? When he goes to school, if he ever gets bullied and teased at his school, I'm coming to his school in my wheelchair and I'm going to run them all over." No, I didn't say that. That's not the nice thing to say. But I went there and he was getting teased, and after a 15-minute speech, no one teased little Daniel after that day. So awesome. So awesome. In fact, I just got a phone call saying, "Hey Nick, can you come to his high school, middle school?" And I'm like, "Why? Are they teasing him there too?" They said, "No, he's like the president of the school and he can't stop talking about you, and so they all want to just meet you." You know, when you can make a difference in someone else's life, it kind of becomes worth it. What's your goal? What's your dream? What's your legacy? What's the truth of your value and your purpose and your destiny? When you know all these things, now we can get into the fun things. Everyone say fun things.
Fun thing.
Turn to the person next to you and say, "Are you ready?"
Are you ready?
Ask them again, "Are you ready?"
Are you
All right,
ready?
everyone take a deep breath in and out. And sit up straight in your chair. Here we go. Here is the next 4 points I want to give you, and now I want to help you to achieve your next level of achievement in life. Before we get there, I want you to write down though a heading. Say, "I am thankful."
I am
I
thankful.
want you to write that down on your piece of paper before we get to point 3. This is before point 3. I want you to write down the 3 things that you're thankful for. Maybe it's family, maybe it's faith, maybe it's friends. And now I want you to write down 3 biggest obstacles that's stopping you from achieving your goal and dream. So the first list is going to be 1, 2, 3, the things you're most thankful for. And when you look at that list, make sure you make calls today. Call your wife, call your daughter, call your son, say, "Hey, I love you." Make sure that they understand that you are thankful for them. Now with your goals and dreams, when you look at now your obstacles, 1, 2, 3. Is it a lack of skill or knowledge? Is it a lack of experience? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of training? What do you think is standing in the way between you and your goal? Write them down real quick. And now I'm going to give you the keys to success. After you have an attitude of gratitude and you know the truth of your value and your purpose and your destiny, 4, 5, 6, 7. Write this down. Sorry. Number 3, 4, 5, 6. Write this down. I don't know what I can achieve until I try. One of the things I am most thankful for is the fact that my parents allowed me to fail. I'll never forget when I was 6 or 7 years old, there was something on the bookshelf that I wanted to reach and I just couldn't reach it. Mom, can you please help me? You know what she said? No. When we're at the store, at the shopping mall, Dad, Mom, can we have that? You know, they said, no. Get your own money. But I don't have any money. You know what they said? Figure it out. Tell your neighbor, figure it out. Go.
Figure it
Tell them with
out.
conviction, double volume. Tell them, figure it out.
Figure it out.
That's exactly what my parents said. They said, your brother takes out the rubbish bin and he makes $1 or $2 a week. You could do something, figure it out. So I'm like, okay, well then I'm gonna maybe vacuum. So I got the vacuum cleaner and I got it on my shoulder. I was 6 years old, turned it on with my chin and I would vacuum the whole house once a week for $2 a day. I am so thankful my parents didn't give me everything I wanted. Parents, stop giving everything your children want. Sorry, you are not doing them a favor. Make them understand what it means to set goals. Make them understand appreciating what they have. They will never appreciate what they have if you give them everything they want. So when I wanted a $15 toy from the store, guess what that meant for me? I had to work at least 8 weeks to save up $15. And then guess what? When I had $15, I then had another thought, well, what if I don't buy it now? And is that for sure what I really, really want? It taught me self-control. It taught me an attitude of gratitude. It taught me patience. It taught me to set a goal. It taught me persistence. Because my parents said no. And one day when I was reaching up for that bookshelf and my mom said, no, figure it out, you know what I did? When you want something so bad, you figure it out. Yes?
Yes.
How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to achieve your goals and your dreams? You want to know how you know that? Is what you do today. And I looked around and I didn't complain about what I didn't have. Some of us waste time at wishing you had something more. Do you want to know that the billionaires of this world were never focusing on what they didn't have, they focused on what they did have. The people who are most successful aren't the ones who waited for more to come into their life to then do more. It were the people who decided whether more blessings come to me or not, I am going to become, watch this, if you get this, your life will change forever. I will master leverage, leveraging and using everything I have to the best of my ability. Those are the people who are most successful, not the ones who stand on the sidelines and say, well, I need more training, and I need more people to believe in me, and I need more leads, and I need more opportunity, and I need, no! What do you have? If you need more training, if you need more motivation, if you need more inspiration, my question back to you is, how bad do you want it? Because how bad you want it will then change what you do today. Are you with me, New Skin?
Yes.
Is this too strong for you? Is it good?
Yes.
Say, it's a good pain. It is. It sucks for someone to tell you up here that we'll just figure it out.
Figure it out.
But it's the key. It's the key. Because when I looked around the room and I grabbed the footstool, the ottoman, and I dragged it with my teeth and I brought it up and pushed it up against the bookshelf, I jumped up like a dolphin at SeaWorld. I jumped up on the ottoman and I used my head and my shoulder to get up, and I grabbed what I wanted from the bookshelf with my teeth. And you know what happened? Because my mom said figure it out. When I figured it out, a light bulb went on. Ready? I don't know what I can achieve until I try. I don't know what's possible until I know what's impossible. I'll say it again. I don't know what's possible until I know what's impossible. And you don't know what's probable until you put one foot in front of the other. You don't know what you don't know till you find out what you didn't know. I'm not playing with words here, I'm giving you the facts. As a motivational speaker who is in the top percent of all speakers around the world, saying no to 35,000 invitations, saying no to 99 to 111 invitations weekly that we get. On average, over 100 invitations we got this week, last week, next week. And for a person who travels without arms and legs, 2,500 airplanes, you put all my flights back to back to back to back, I've been up in the air at 6.5 months. The new stats is 18 presidents and 5 governments changing law to allow special needs children to allow them to go to school for the very first time. Talk about making a difference in the world. And all of that without marketing. Without marketing. How? Ask me the question, Nick, how did you become a speaker? Go.
How you become a speaker?
I'm glad you asked. So the third one is, I don't know what I can achieve until I try. Fourth, when I fail, try again. Number 5, obstacles equals opportunity. And number 6, dream big. Do you want me to repeat them or you got it? Tell him, I got it. All right, good. Ready? Now look at me. You will never believe who was the first person to look at me and say, Nick, you should consider being a speaker. It wasn't my mom and it wasn't my dad. In fact, my dad gave me some really good advice. He said, Nick, you were not blessed with arms and legs, but you were blessed with a brain. Use your brain. Start a business and have employees, and they can be your hands and feet. Cool advice, right? I was 6 years old. And he said, Nick, go into accounting and financial planning. At age 16, me and my brother, we were trading my dad's money in the stock market. When I went to university, there's a company in Australia called Dunlop Tires. And in the morning, at 9:15 every morning, I would buy that stock at 73 cents, and by 2:30 in the afternoon, I would sell it for 74 cents. I would make $180 just because I took 5 minutes of my time working out what Dunlop was doing at that time. 18 years old, making more money than my friends, and also going to school because I could click a button with my little foot. I love my little foot. I've got 2 toes. Peace, how you doing? And when I was at that time going through my life, I never thought that I would be a speaker. No way. I've never even seen a speaker. If we ever saw a speaker in 2002 in Australia, anyone from Australia? Couple. In 2002, if a motivational speaker came to our country, it wasn't because they were Australian, it was because they're actually from America or somewhere else. There was no such thing as a GPS, there was no such thing as YouTube, and there was not even internet when I basically started into my career. Do you understand that? 500 million people heard about my story just in the West through YouTube. 800 million people in China know all about my story because of YouTube. 1.6 billion have seen me on TV. media, but I started at 0. Everyone say 0.
0.
So guess who it was? It was the janitor at my high school. While he was cleaning the toilets, he looked at me and he said, Nick. I said, yes, Arnold. He said, you are gonna be a speaker. I was 17. I was in the student government body as one of the leaders, the prefects. And I said, excuse me? He said, Nick, you're gonna be a speaker. And I said, you're a crazy old man. I said, what makes you think that? He says, I just know. And I said, what do you mean I'm gonna be a speaker? What am I gonna speak about? He said, your story. I said, I don't have a story. He says, yes, you do. I said, no, I don't. And I said, bye-bye, and I walked away. The next day, I look at him, and he says, hey, be a speaker. And I'm like, no, and I walked away. Next day, he comes up to me. He says, Nick, please, I will organize a speech here at this school. You know, we have that club going on here at the public school. You know, they talk about spirituality. You should just talk about your life story. And I'm like, no. He said, please, what can I do to convince you? I said, dude, leave me alone. I walked away. No joke. Over the next days and weeks, he would look at me and I would try to avoid him. I start walking away, he starts running up to me like this. After 3 weeks, he twisted my arm and I said yes. And I spoke in front of 6 students and man, I was so nervous. Anyone afraid of public speaking, put your hand up. Anyone afraid of public speaking? Okay, put your hand up. Do you know what Google says? Google says that the biggest fear in the world is the fear of public speaking. You know what the second biggest fear is? Death. So some people would rather die than actually being up here to do what I'm doing.
Yes.
No joke. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, right? You know, my palms were sweaty, my knees were shaking. I didn't know what I was going to say. And I started just sharing from my heart. And this girl started crying. She's like, and I'm like, what's wrong? She says, I don't know. I'm like, why are you crying? She said, I don't know, but I was just touched. And I'm thinking, who touched her? And then they said at the end, they said, can we have your number? I'm like, why do you want my number? So we can call you again. And I'm thinking, what? They said, yeah, you were really good. I'm like, no, I was horrible. I didn't think much of it. My phone started ringing. Can you speak at this school group? Can you speak at that organization? Can you speak at that church? Yeah, all right, I will. Age 17, 18, 19, I spoke 12 times. And one night I came home from one of my speeches and my mom was waiting for me at 10:30 p.m. And I came home and she looked at me after these people left and she looked down at me, she said, we need to talk. And I said, okay. So we went further into the house and I'm sitting down, I'm looking at her walking and she's pacing like this, looking at me. I want to know something, and I want to know the truth. I'm like, okay, what did I do? I don't know what's going on, but I want to know right now. What are you doing? I said, sorry? She said, I don't know. These strangers, they pick you up, they take you in their car, you go for a couple of hours, and when you come back, you're smiling and they're crying. And I said, I'm speaking. She says, what? What do you mean you're speaking? What are you speaking about? I said, my story? She says, you have a story? I said, I think so. She says, but why are they crying? I said, I don't know. They're just touched. So I had no idea what to say to my mom, and she said, well, is this a hobby or a job? I said, a job. She said, are they paying you? I said, no. She said, well, then it's not a job. She said, stick to what your father told you. You finish your double degrees in accounting and financial planning. You get into the stock market. You get into real estate. And you start your own business. Understand? Yes, Mom. She said, when you graduate from university, if after that you want to explore speaking, go for it. But stop wasting your time. I, though still in my heart, I felt to speak. And I spoke one more time at a school, 300 students. And it was in front of 300 of them, and I was so nervous, and within 3 minutes, half the girls were crying. And one girl was weeping, and she put up her hand and she said, I'm so sorry, can I come up there and give you a hug? I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm like, okay, come and give me a hug. She came and she hugged me and she wept on this shoulder and she whispered in my ear, thank you, thank you, thank you. No one's ever told me that they love me. No one's ever told me that I'm beautiful the way that I am. And I came home and I'm thinking, you know what? That was the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Accounting sucks. And I said, Mom and Dad, I know what I want to be for the rest of my life. And my dad said, good, finish school. We talked about that, right? I said, yes, I understand. But I want to be a speaker. And my mom said, what are you going to speak about? I said, I don't know. She says, who's going to want to hear you speak? I said, I don't know. She says, do you know any other speaker? I said, no, I don't. She said, well, how are you going to make money from it? I said, I don't know. Do you know anything about this industry? I said, no. Do you know any other speaker? I said, no. How are you going to market yourself? I said, I don't know. Are they going to pay for you? I said, I don't know. I didn't know. Talk about obstacles. We haven't even talked about the fact that I have no arms and no legs. She said, even if you got an invitation and even if they did pay for you, how are you going to get there? I said, I don't know. Ready? Two-step process. When you come to the truth of your value, your purpose, and your destiny, it's when you realize that these lies were dragging you further away from your future, and all these lies take you closer to the edge. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm on the edge of the table here. At age 10, I actually attempted suicide by trying to drown myself in my bathtub because I believe that I am disabled. I am alone. I am helpless. I am hopeless. I am nothing. And look at what has happened in my life, and I want you to know that beautiful things can come from your broken pieces if you give your broken pieces a chance. New skin. Give yourself a chance to run faster and dream bigger beyond your imagination. If a man without arms or legs can dream big and knock down doors and jump over walls, then so can you. You can. You are possible. I am possible. You are possible. But it's only when you realize that these voices and lies, hey, you're not good enough. Hey, you're a failure. You know what you do to those lies? Those lies, you can talk to the foot because the ears ain't listening. And kick them out, and you turn around on those lies and go, nah, 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 nah. I am beautifully made. I am unique. I am fearless. I am possible. I am possible. I want you to know that each step takes effort. And sometimes you fall down. But it's not about how many times you fall down. It's how many more times are you going to get back up. Does anyone know who made the light bulb? Yeah, you can give me an applause if you want there. Thomas Edison, he made the what? Light bulb. Wasn't he a failure? Wasn't he a big, fat failure? Didn't he fail 9,999 times? Yes! How does it feel, Thomas, failing 9,999 times? You know what he said? I never failed 9,999 times. Now I know 9,999 ways in how not to make a light bulb. Isn't that true? Failure equals education. Have we written that one down yet? I don't think so. Failure equals education. Ready? So this is how it happened. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I was ready to go find out. You want to know why? Because when you overcome these lies and you turn your back on the lies and you come to the truth, I am possible, I am possible. I don't know anything about marketing, and that's a big obstacle. But you know what I'm going to decide today? To figure it out. Because I don't know what I can achieve until I try. When I try and I fail, I will try again. If I fail, failure equals education, and my obstacles is no longer a barrier. I gotta perceive my obstacles as opportunities, an opportunity to self-develop, an opportunity to learn about marketing, an opportunity to learn about my industry. Are you with me, New Skin?
Yes.
So I started from zero. I got the phone book out. Anyone remember when there was no internet and you only had a phone book? You remember that? So I got the big phone book out and I got a massive list of all the schools in the region. And I started calling schools. Hello! I had no idea what I was doing. I was inviting myself to a school. Hi! My name is Nick, and I'm a speaker, and I was wondering if I can come and speak at your school. No, thank you. And she hung up the phone. Was that a failure or success? I invited myself to a school, and the school said no. New Skin, is it a failure or success?
Success.
Failure. If it was a success, then she would say yes. If I fail, New Skin, is it that we are a failure when we fail? No. So what did I do? I tried again. Not the same school, but another school. Hello. Hi, my name is Nick. And I have no arms and legs. She said, what? I said, I'm a speaker and I have no limbs. She said, how are you holding the phone? And I'm thinking, why does that even matter? You know, she said, I don't believe you. And hung up the phone. Was that a failure or success? Failure. Is it okay to fail? Are you a
ตอนนี้
failure?
ตอบถูกแล้วนะ
Hello. Hi, my name is Vujicic and I'm a motivational speaker and I have no arms or legs. Can I come and speak at your school? Let me check with the principal. And I'm like, oh. I'm gonna be a speaker. I'm gonna be a speaker. She comes back and she says, actually, can I call you back? I want to talk really in depth to the staff. I said, sure. So I gave her my number and I hung up the phone. I'm thinking, oh man, accounting's so boring. I want to be a speaker so bad. And I'm waiting for her to give me a call back, and she gives me a call back. And hello, this is Nick. Hi. I spoke in front of the whole staff, and we all decided that if you really have no arms and legs, and if you actually come to this school, you're probably just going to scare everybody.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, thanks. And I hung up the phone. Failure or success?
Failure.
Failure. New Skin, is it okay to fail?
Yes.
Yes. Failure is not a status, it's the process. Failure is the natural process to success. If you try something the first time and you succeed the first time, then it's probably not much of a success. Are you with me? So then I called another school, and I called another school, and I called another school, and I called 10 schools, and I called 15 schools, and 19, 23, 29, 33, 38, 43, 48 schools. 52 schools said no. And every time I got a no, I got better and better and better. And on my 53rd phone call, it went like this. Hello? Hello, my name is Vujicic. I'm a motivational speaker, and I was wondering if I could come and speak to your school about bullying, self-esteem, dreaming big, and never giving up. And she said, okay. And I'm like, what do I do now? I'll put you down, I don't know. And she said, so can you come? Like when can you come? I'm like, well, first, I asked the worst question you could ask. I said, can you pay? She said, what? Is that for free? I said, sorry, I have some costs. She said, what's your cost? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm thinking, $50. She's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I got a job.
Wow.
And so she said, so can you come like next week? I said, yeah, sure. She said, will you get yourself here? I said, yeah, I'll get there. So next Tuesday? I said, yeah, great. So I write down her address with my foot. She was really impressed that I was writing the address with my foot. And she's like, thank you so much. And I said, no, thank you. And I hung up the phone. New skin, was that failure or success?
Success.
I was so happy, man. I got my first job. I'm gonna be a speaker. And then I looked at the map. Now, no GPS, so the map was in a book. And I get the book, and I'm turning these pages. Like, where is this place? And I look, I'm like, oh no! And I calculated a 2.5-hour drive. And I'm like, oh no, how am I gonna get there? It's Thursday today, the speech is on Tuesday. Maybe if I start walking now, I'll get there on time. Maybe I can mail myself there in a post office or something. How am I gonna get there? Now, I didn't want to ask my parents to take me because they didn't believe in my dream and they had full-time jobs and all that stuff. And so my brother, he was 16 years old, he's watching TV. And he's flicking the channels, and I come into the room and I say, hey bro, hey, what's up? Nothing much, I just got something good to tell you. He's like, oh yeah, what's that? I said, a school wants me to speak. Oh, that's nice. Wait, you want me to take you, huh? I said, please bro, please, you have no idea, you don't understand. I called 53 schools and I finally got one, and it's my first, and I really need to get there. He said, calm down, calm down. Where is it? And I said, oh, the address is in my room. I wasn't lying. He said, well, when is it? I said, next Tuesday. He said, oh, no, I can't do next Tuesday. I said, why not? He said, I'm busy. I said, you're busy? I said, what are you doing? He said, nothing. So I walk away, and I'm the accountant, and I'm thinking, you know what? There is something that you learn, opportunity cost, right? When you say something, no to something, then it's really the opportunity cost of what could have happened if you actually didn't go through with it. So then I came back and I said to my bro, hey, I'll pay you $50. And he said, okay. Now he's driving, okay? And he's driving, and so I'm in the front seat, right? I'm co-pilot, right? And I got the book here, right? And he's driving, right? And so he's looking out, and he starts seeing all these houses disappear, and we're going into farmland. And he says, where are we going? And I said, why? It doesn't matter. He said, no, seriously, who lives out here? I said, it's a 2.5-hour drive. He said, what? A 2.5-hour drive? I said, yeah, you shouldn't complain, you're getting paid. And he said, but seriously, where are we going? It's like, are you going to speak to the animals? I said, no. He said, how big is the school? And I look at him like, I don't know. He said, what do you mean you don't know? You didn't ask?
No.
No. And he stopped smiling. He doesn't care. He's getting paid. He said, do you know how long you're speaking for? No. He says, why didn't you ask? I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Brotherly love right there and then. Now, freaking out. Freaking out. Why didn't I ask him simple questions? So I go to the headmaster and I said, hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. No problem, it's my pleasure. Really nice to be here, thank you so much. Now, I just have 2 questions, and she said, okay. I said, so, how long would you like me to speak for? She said, we'd like you to speak for 5 minutes. Is that okay? I mean, it's like I died. Like everything froze. My heart stopped beating. My brother laughed out loud and he had to walk away. I'm now trying to compose myself and it's okay. Maybe it's a big crowd. A big crowd for 5 minutes would be a good experience. Yeah. So I said, okay. How many people are going to be there? And she said, oh, we're so excited. We have all our leaders, 10 of them. And I started hearing those voices in my head. You're an idiot. You're a failure. You're stupid. You're not smart. You're not going to be a speaker. This is crazy. You had to call 53 schools to get 1 yes, and then you had to drive to that school 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back, and pay for gas and fuel, and pay for your brother. It's like you got sounded like you were giving money away to actually get out of your way to actually go speak in front of 10 people for 5 minutes. It's not a good business. And I got up on stage, and I did my best. And I spoke for 5 minutes, and I came off stage, and I grabbed the $50, I said thank you. And I gave it to my brother, I said thank you. He was driving home like this. And I said, don't tell mom and dad. He said, okay. We get home, and guess who's waiting for me at home? My mom. Hey, Dad! Yes, Mom? How was the speech? I said, it was good, Mom. I went into my room, I closed the door, didn't come out. I cried. I was beating myself up. I was so depressed, I was so bitter, I was still angry. And I decided that night, I would never be a speaker. The next morning, 8:30 in the morning, very early for a 19-year-old. Did you get that one? My phone rang. No, it's too early. Next time. I'll let it go a second time. I remembered what happened the day before and I got really depressed and really annoyed. Third time. I'm like, all right. So I pick up the phone and I'm half asleep. Hello? Yes, yes. Hi, good morning. How can I help you? She said, "Are you the speaker that just spoke yesterday?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you talk about bullying?" I said, "Yes." She said, "We heard you are awesome." And I said, "Okay." She said, "Nick, just this week, this and this and this happened with our students, and we really need a speaker to come in and speak about bullying. And we think that you're the person, and do you live in this zip code?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, then you're just down the street from us, so you're really close. And listen, we'll do anything we can. We'll pay you $150, and we'll pick you up, we'll look after you, but we have one problem." And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She said, "Well, you must be so busy because you're so good. How do we get into your schedule?" And I said, "Let me check the calendar." It's a no joke. I got my calendar out. It's a little journal. A blank page, blank page, blank page. Waited for a little bit. One more blank page. I said, "What about next Friday?" She said, "What? You have an opening?" I said, "Yes." She said, "It's a miracle." And I'm thinking, no, it's not. I said, "I just have 2 questions. I said, how long would you like me to speak for? And how many people would be there?" Because I am now educated. I paid the tuition. You know what she said? 20 minutes in front of 500 students. Are you okay with that? And I said, "Of course." When I spoke at that school, I got another school calling me. I spoke at that school, another school called me, and then 2 schools called me, and then 3 schools called me. Listen, 35,000 invitations, that's no exaggeration. 3,000 stages, 18 presidents, billionaires, CEOs, bankers, orphans, and sex slaves. When you look at success, what is it for you? For me, it was to become a speaker and making a difference. For you, it's possibly to make a lot of money and then give money away. My wife and I, we have 4 children, but we also sponsor 3 children in poverty. We are about to buy some land in Mexico and Serbia to start orphanages. When you look at the world today, where do you fit in? Because there are many problems and needs in the world. And I kind of want to be real with you and tell you, number 1, go for your dream. Run. Dream big. Because you are possible. But I also want you to understand that the bigger dream of the people who are noble, the bigger dream of the people who understand that we want less corruption in the world, so in everything that you do and say, you're going to be people of integrity. You're going to be people who understand that just because your father didn't show affectionate love and compassion and communicate to you how much he loved you, now you know what to do different for your son or your daughter. And so what you're going to do is understand that you don't want to just be a parent to your children, you want to be a friend of your children too. Where you can actually take them to an orphanage and show them what poverty is. One of the greatest ways to bring education to your children, your sons and daughters, is to show them the reality of the world in 2018. Show them what an orphan is. Show them what sickness and cancer is. I can't wait to take my children to a hospital where there are full of kids with cancer. And when my son is 13 years old, we're going to go in there and we're all going to have some fun and make these children laugh and smile for just a little moment. When we go to orphanages, I'm going to take my son to show him. I'm going to introduce him to 16-year-olds who were sold by their own mother for $700 US. There are 30 million slaves in the world. There are 2 billion people in the world surviving on a handful of rice a day. Where do you play in that role? Make a commitment not just to be successful, but make the world a better place. Make the world a better place. I'm going to finish off with a wonderful story, a success story. I know you Asian cultured people, you love the number 8. Don't you?
Yes.
You're lucky. Now, for now, I think you only have 7 points, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to give you the number 8. Never give up.
Number 7.
Now I want you to put whatever's on your lap down. I want you to look at me. I want to tell you one of the most phenomenal stories. Because many of you say, well, Nick, you were born in Australia, and Australia is privileged, and Australia is progressed more than my country, like Indonesia, or other parts, Philippines. Let me tell you a story of success from the slums of Brazil. I don't know if you can see the size of this stage. It's very hard. But if you see the big screen behind me, make that screen like a floor of a house. That's as big as the house was, of this man called Edson Bueno. He, his 3 siblings, and his parents lived in a house as big as that, made of cardboard, of wood, and sheet metal and scraps. They slept on cardboard between the dirt and their back. Edson became a shoe shiner as expected at age 4 because his brothers were shoe shiners. His father was a shoe shiner, his grandfather was a shoe shiner, his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a shoe shiner. He was going to be a shoe shiner. Started at age 4, shining shoes of business people. 4 years later, he was 8 years old, and he ran across the street, and bang! A car hit him. He became unconscious, and if it wasn't for a doctor who was there at the intersection, who saved his life, he would have died. When he came back into consciousness, and they told him a doctor saved your life, you know what he said to himself? I am going to be a doctor. Not one of his family ever went to school. And he said to himself, I will even starve myself to put money aside and buy a uniform to go to school. Of which he did. He bought a uniform, dirty, full of holes, and his mother stitched it up and washed it. He went to school for the first time at age 8, and he would start basically kindergarten. He couldn't write, he couldn't read, he couldn't even speak the formal language. He didn't know how to socialize. He was an outcast. He was the poor child. He never saw water come from a faucet out of the wall. He's never seen a shower in his life. He took his first shower at school at age 8. He was last, bullied, last, rejected, last, outcast, always last. Never did he have a friend. And then he worked harder and harder and harder, and he became first, first. Grade 9, 10, 11, 12, first. He became top in the school. He did research. Everyone say research.
research
He found out because he wanted it so bad, he went to go find which scholarships are out there for med school. He found them. He applied to all of them. And every time he got to the interview process and he started telling the scholars and professors his story, they all cried. And at the end of the interview process, they looked at each other and said, you know what, out of everyone that we've ever met that we've been interviewing for this scholarship this year, we know you will go the furthest. He got 14 years of school in medicine, fully paid for, 2 specialties, and at age 33, he started his first hospital. Do you know what that takes? Do you know what that takes? We're talking insurance, liability, accounting, practices, doctors, philosophers, the city, the permits, the investors, the entire thing he took at age 33. He started with 10 employees. And I met him when he was 60 on Rodeo Drive in Southern California. He stopped me, really tall man, 60 years old then. He said, Nikki! I said, yes? You don't know me, but I know you. I've read your book 14 times. I said, really? He said, yes. I want to bring you to my country. I said, okay. So I gave him my number. Never really went to Brazil for a corporate speaking engagement. At that time, I was charging $25,000 for a speech. When I was telling him, when he asked me, how much is your speech cost? I said, $25,000. He said, what? I said, you need to double it. I said, okay, you be the first one to pay. And he said, I'll take 6. $300,000 contract. It was incredible. Really incredible. Now, little did I know who he was. And do you know who I spoke to? His employees. Do you want to know why he needed 6 days of my time? Because he had 46,000 employees. 46,000 employees. He didn't have one hospital, he had 150 hospitals. Not only did he have hospitals and 46,000 employees, get this. You know, like, I don't know where, like, your company, your governments and stuff. In Australia, there is no private really health insurance, it's Medicare and stuff. In America, there's private health insurance, okay? And everyone has to have health insurance. In Brazil, he started a private health insurance. Listen, 5 million Brazilians were the member of his health care company, watch this, who paid every year $1,000 US. If you do the math, it was a $5 billion a year company. I'll say it again. $5 billion company from a 4-year-old shoe shiner. Stand to your feet, please. So now you can't use against me the excuse. He lived in a house that big. One of my favorite friends, to me, one of the greatest legends ever lived in the motivational speaking industry, my dear friend Les Brown. I had him speak at my event in California for our entrepreneurship seminar in June. And he told all our attendees something And I want to echo it today because it's so powerful. Before I tell you what he told everyone there, remember the truth of your value, the truth of your purpose, the truth of your destiny, the truth of happiness has nothing to do with money, drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography, fame, fortune, or anything else that this world can ever give you. Title, position, acknowledgement, recognition. Empty. When you know with truth and faith, you know that you've been born and created for a greater purpose. And that we all can agree upon this, to make the world a better place. To not judge one another, to love each other equally, to respect one another, to do everything in love and kindness, to be quick to forgive, slow to judge. If you say you have friends, make sure that you are indeed a friend to them. Not just say, how are you? Oh, everything's fine. Nothing's fine sometimes. And sometimes you need a friend. Be the friend for someone else. Let's get real. Everyone say, let's get real. Let's make a difference. Let's show more love. So with all of that said, and all that foundation of these 8 principles I've given you, now I'm telling you to get hungry. Get hungry. My wife and I, we've been having discussions lately where we are just so inspired by the people around us. You know what my wife said? We were discussing some things in bed, and we just paid off our home this week. 35 years old, paid off our home this week. We've been reinvesting, doing real estate developments. We went flipped houses in Dallas, Texas. We cashed in on rental properties, made 70% of all of our investments. Cashed in, now we're building 39 homes in Dallas, Texas. And then we paid off our home at the same time. We finally feel like, wow, what a milestone at age 35. She's 30. And we looked at ourselves and looked at each other. And we were talking about dreaming and making a difference in the world. You know, we want to do the orphanage in Mexico and buy some land in Serbia. And you know what she said? She said something I'll never forget. She says, there's so much money out there in the world, you just got to go and get it. It's not this rocket science. It's not this like, be calm and do it home, be good, do home. I want the money. No. When someone has a goal and they take one step at a time, and they don't focus on what they don't have, and they use to their best ability what they do have, and they keep on going, and they research, and they see obstacles, not as barriers, but opportunities, and they dream big and never give up, those are the people who are hungry. When you're hungry, and you smell food, you want the food, baby!
Yes.
You start drooling. I am so hungry. I can do that honey pork any day you guys got out here. It's amazing. I want you to understand. How bad do you want it? Maybe do something that makes you hungry for it. What will you do something different today? Not just treating people, but setting those goals. My life was hard. And in the difficult times, you know what I did? I put a picture of an African orphan on my mirror. That every day I wake up, I knew it was going to be a hard day. But I knew that once that day was over, I'm a day closer to my dream. Are you with me?
Yes.
With a loud voice, repeat after me. I today
I today,
Double volume. I today
I today
am fully convicted
am fully convicted
that I am unique,
I am unique,
I am possible,
I am possible,
and I'm beautiful,
I am beautiful,
just the way I am.
just the way I am.
I today
I today
make a conscious decision
make a conscious decision
to dream big,
to dream big,
to go to the next level,
to go to the next level,
and to give myself a chance.
to give myself a chance.
From this day on,
From this day on,
I will do my best
I will do my best
to be my best friend.
to be my best friend.
I will do my best
I will do my best
to love myself
to love myself
and try.
and try.
And when I fail,
And when I fail,
I will try again.
I will try again.
From this day on,
From this day on,
I will do my best
I will do my best
to achieve my goals
to achieve my goals
and make the world
and make the world
a better place.
a better place.
I will be
I will be
a beacon of light,
bigger life,
a beacon of hope,
bigger of hope,
and a shining light of love
and a shining light of love
to let the world know
to let the world know
that we all
that we all
can make a difference.
can make a difference.
I will do my best
I will do my best
from this day on
from this day on
to dream big
to dream big
and never give up.
and never give up.
Give yourself a round of applause, New Skin Southeast Asia. Everyone say, I am possible.
I am possible.
Wonderful. Give each other a high five and have a seat. So, what I want you to know is those 3 obstacles that you wrote down, most of them are possible to overcome. When I do this survey in front of 7,000 people, there are maybe 8 people that wrote an obstacle down that will never change. And they say it's their health issues or physical limitations, and that's when I say, yeah, me too. What we gotta understand is that whatever obstacles that are standing in the way between us and the goal, that we can achieve, overcome, and try. You just gotta be ready with the mindset of being the person saying, I am possible. Lastly, turn to the person next to you and look him in the eye and say, you are possible. Go.
You're the possible.
New Skin, did you enjoy my speech today?
Yes.
Did it motivate you?
Yes.
Did it inspire you?
Yes.
Most of all, did it teach you something?
Yes.
Very good. We have a really cool opportunity now for Q&A. And there was a competition here at New Skin to ask me a question, and they actually chose 3 questions out of all the competition that were actually pre-recorded on video. And so we're going to go through those 3 videos, and then I think we're going to open it up to the room. I'm not too sure about that. I forgot about that. But let's do the videos now of the 3 questions from people. Here we go. We got Chung Lee Shun.
Hi Nick, my name is Lisa. I am from Malaysia and I've been in New Skin for 5 years. So the reason why I'm in New Skin is because of my mom. My mom, hi. Yeah, so she's fighting cancer now, and that's one of the reasons why I came into New Skin to have more time to spend with her, and in order to make her proud as well. And okay, my questions to Nick is, what do you say or actually do to help other people to find their purpose or even their dreams in life? You know, do you have like anything that inspires them, or what can we do to let others realize that? And I hope to see you and to show my mom that, you know, God miracles happen. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Jolie Short. Well, first of all, as you can imagine, my parents just loving on me and encouraging me was very inspiring to the people around them. And the fact that Chung Li Shun can just be there for her mom and encourage her and do her best and do her best to supply the needs of her family, provide for her family, that's inspiring itself. And so, can we first of all thank her for the question and the support she is to her mother. Such a great example. To never forget the elderly, and especially our family, is the biggest thing. She did mention the word God, and we all have different faiths, but for me, having a faith in God and believing that miracles can happen, but even when a miracle doesn't happen, you can still be a miracle for somebody else, is the fact that her mother can probably encourage other people as well without her really even knowing. And I just want you all to know that we all go through ups and downs and we need each other. And I really believe that we discount or belittle the impact that we have of just living day to day as good people, noble people, encouraging one another, being there for one another, helping each other out. And really maybe whether it's having a purpose to then really assist the elderly or make money to then go into cancer research. There's actually a fact where if you actually look at all the pioneers and foundations of every non-profit organization, most of them were started from people who were personally affected by the cause they are fundraising for. Does that make sense? What we're going to understand is when there are bad things happening, there's always a way that can be switched to a point that it can be used for positive and turned into something good. And so with faith, family, and friends, I really believe that us being a friend to anybody, knowing that, look, maybe we don't understand how it feels to have a parent who's struggling with cancer, or maybe we do, but we at least are here for one another, and friendship and love and sincerity really to me is something that brings out purpose. And whether she has after that a business or starting a business from this or encouraging the elderly or starting a foundation for cancer and help people who are struggling with that as well, just the possibilities are endless. And I don't really have a cookie cutter answer to that, but I really believe keep on going, keep on looking for it, and you'll find it. Thank you so much for the question. Next question. Christine.
Hi, my name is Christine Javier and I'm from the Philippines. I have been with Nu Skin for 7 years. This business is the main source of our family's income. Because of this opportunity, it allows me to be a stay-at-home mom to my daughter, and the time that it gives also allows me to be a homeschooling parent. My question is, prior to the success that you are experiencing now, what were the habits that led you to become unstoppable?
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. Let's thank her for the question. So everything that I've shared with you is what I apply in my life. And so I always start my day with meditation and being thankful for what I have. And I feel like the habits of always being thankful and not focusing on what you don't have, being thankful for what you do have, is a wonderful habit to have. Also to understand that you being honest and having an honest reflection of yourself. Let me tell you actually one of the things that have really helped me to go to the next level. It's actually every 6 months, you know, whiteboards or blackboards, whatever. I have 6 whiteboards at home. And every 6 months, because I actually have categorized my life in 10 different things. My family, my faith, my for-profit, my non-profit, my innovations, my real estate development, and other things. 10 layers. Every 6 months, I fill up 6 whiteboards of everything. All my dreams. Everything I want to do. And then I prioritize them. And based on my life changing so much, things change. Sometimes then priorities need to change. The way that you live before you're married is very different with your time management and prioritization than after you getting married. Your prioritization and time management therein changes when you not only get married, but you have a child, then 2 children, now 4 children. You have no idea how difficult it has been to get me from a single bachelor who was on the plane every 3rd day for 4 years straight I was home one of those years, 35 nights. I was home. I don't even know why I even had a house. I should have just lived in a hotel. To then go from 270 days on the road to then telling my wife, I will not propose to you until I have a more solid, stable schedule. It took us 6 months to get back to 130 days. We didn't have a lot of money at that time. In January 2011, I actually started 6 companies with $260,000. And 16 weeks later, I lost all my money for the second time. If you don't know what it feels to lose money, all of your money the first time, you don't know what it means the second time. And the second time, I collapsed into anxiety attacks. For 30 days, I was depressed. And what came out of that were not just many lessons that I learned in business, that everything takes 2 to 3 times longer, that everything is more like 2 to 3 times more expensive, that your revenue is more like 30% of what you really think it's going to be, and then it's also going to be 3 times longer before you see the 30%. And then, you can't trust anybody when someone takes $50,000 from your bank account. So with all of that happening, you got to understand that money comes and goes. But in that, when I told my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, hey baby, I just lost all our money, all my money. You know what she said? That's okay. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'll get a nursing job and support the both of us. And that's when I knew I wanted to marry this girl, because she would be with me always. From that day on, I was listing things that I'm thankful for, and every 6 months, I realized that you can't do everything now. Things take time. Sometimes we take more than we can handle. There are seasons of sacrifice. We all understand that. When you're starting a business, you need to put 18 hours a day into your company, 6 or 7 days a week for several years. If you're not ready to do that, you're not ready to start a business. But if you're ready to do that, understand that as things build, you need to also then take a step back and make sure that your priorities remain your priorities, and that you never worship money as a thing that's going to give you happiness, and sacrifice all your fatherhood from being away from your child because you want to give him the biggest opportunity and the best college and the best university. That's wonderful to provide for your son, but it's also very much more important to be a father to your son and a friend to your son than be somebody who gives them the best education. To find that balance is extremely rare. In fact, no one ever finds the perfect balance. But why I'm saying all of this is saying the truth. Hard work, ups, downs, very high highs, very low lows. You endure that, and every 6 months, practice being thankful, getting coaching, accountability, time management, and prioritization systems, where sometimes you have to let dreams die. Let me give you a piece of advice. Just because a dream dies doesn't mean you have to die. Because you ain't a dream. You're bigger than a dream. Do you understand? So all of that to say, be thankful, prioritize, time management, and balance to the best of your ability. Thank you so much. We have now our third question. It is from Chua, if I say it right, I'm sorry.
Hi Nick, how are you? I'm Chua from Malaysia, and I work for investment banking for almost 18 years before I joined New Skin. Now I'm the Blue Diamonds of New Skin. And I have two questions for you. Number one, how do you help someone to have more belief and convictions in themselves while on their journey in New Skin business? Number two is what would be the magic words for us in Southeast Asia distributor to bring back home after this Vujicic convention?
Awesome.
Last but not least, I wish you all the best to you and your family. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Joel.
ชื่อชั่ว
Yeah, here we go. So, how do you
Không phải
help
ชื่อ
someone have more belief in their convictions and belief in themselves in their journey of New Skin? You know what? One of the good things to do, which is an honest, great exercise and reflection, is that if you've been in this business for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, to look back. Look back at, let's say, rewind a year ago. Are you more stronger than a year ago? Have you learned more than you did at that time? Have you become more wiser? Have you become a little bit more courageous, perhaps? Have you kind of given yourself a little bit more credit and maybe not be so harsh on yourself? Have you been able to maybe develop a bit more of a thicker skin when someone puts you down or doesn't believe in your vision? I think a great way to re-energize your courage and convictions and self-belief is not just setting goals that are higher and forwards in the future, but really it's also to reflect on the past. Remember where you came from. Remember how more difficult you felt it was. You know, we are so interesting as human beings. Let me share with you. You turn around from the lies and you walk, and now all of a sudden there's a huge wall. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this is so difficult. And then 3 months later, you got through it. And then you walk. Oh my goodness, how am I ever gonna get through this? And it's the biggest thing I've ever gone through. And 6 months later, you're still here. Oh no, look at this. No, go back. Do you remember how big these walls were? Do you remember how big the word impossible was? Remember impossible and now say, no, for this big next challenge, I am possible. Good? The second thing he asked, what would the magic words for us in Southeast Asia be for the conventional regional here convention as a member of New Skin and a distributor? I would say, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Give it to me. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go for it. I'm hungry for more. I'm hungry for opportunity. I'm hungry to the point that I don't know how many times I need to fail before I'm successful. I don't know how many brick walls I need to bash down and how many mountains I need to climb and how many rivers I need to swim through. But I am ready. Why? Because my goal, my dream, my purpose, my passion is for me to get there. And if that means I need to fail 9,999 times, let it be, because I am ready to fail. Because remember, if you try something the first time and you get it, then maybe it's not much of an achievement. No one ever achieved great success without embracing failure as part of the journey. Embrace it, get hungry, and run. Love you, New Skin. Thank you so much.
New Skin Southeast Asia, please give Nick a big round of applause. Thank you, Nick, for filling this hall with full of faith and possibilities and for making us feel that I am possible.